an amazing playoffs in these last couple of weeks.
Absolutely.
It's also dangerous because the one thing that scares me more than anything else is that with most players, if you eliminate Tacita as an option, all of a sudden, okay, you don't want to play Tracer anymore. But right now, we've seen them also do the same thing with Abathur, exactly. So in that case, you are really starting to worry the opponent where they are thinking, do we actually have to use one of our bans
Just
on
for a
Tracer?
Tracer.
And if Tracer is banned out, it's not like it's his only
Yeah, we saw
hero.
Liquid come to that conclusion as well yesterday.
Exactly,
They
so-
valued the ban on Tracer relatively
Yeah.
high, and we saw Wish get a lot of freedom in
Yeah.
the draft because of that. So it's like this double-edged sword. You got to pick and choose your battles wisely.
Exactly. You don't want to waste a first ban for one specific player, since everything else, all the other macro picks, are still up.
Exactly.
So it's
Well,
a big issue.
we'll see if that Tracer ban does come in here as we go to game number 4. The battleground will be Infernal Shrines. Team Wish gets the pick as Trick Esport will elect for first pick. We came to Infernal Shrines yesterday, and Team Wish, they look pretty dominant on it.
I mean, there's a couple of things that we can talk about again when we're talking about Infernal Shrines. First of all, it's another map where you can play Kel'Thuzad if they really want to highlight him again, as we've seen earlier.
We've seen that from Dignitas, I think.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
also another map where Tricked in particular plays Zul, so they could play Zul here too.
Okay, cool.
So Infernal Shrines being the battleground here. That's where we came with Team Liquid in game number 4, and Team Liquid just puttered out, especially towards the end there, where there was that really big bait on the Greymane in the bottom side.
That's
but
right.
Grandpa came
Yeah.
with the Uther and Divine Shield.
The level of 16 versus 15.9 team fight. Yeah,
it was
I
a
remember.
very scary moment for Team Liquid. So we'll have to see if that pops up here for Tricked Esports. Seeing what we saw yesterday, you gotta be a little scared if you're tricked.
Patient macro play has been like the play style on this map for Team Wish. They've had a really good showing, especially against Liquid. But that gives an advantage to Tricked as well. They've seen Wish play on this map already, so they could have prepared different pick ban strategies, keeping that in mind too.
And we talked about this earlier, especially when you talk about playoffs. It's one of the big advantages that you have with a high playoff position.
With the
you
step
can,
ladder.
Yeah, exactly. You can watch your opponents. So Expert, for example, is looking at these games, and they can analyze now the matches that Wish plays today, play yesterday. And
They get to see what happens
Yeah,
when they
they
see the bans.
They
on
go
the
through
Tracer and stuff.
exactly. They go through scenarios. So if Wish really makes it through, then they of course know, hey, Tracer is an issue. How did the previous teams try to deal with her? Do we have another way to approach it, or do we just feel that our execution is better on this end? So they have a lot more preparation time for this, whereas teams like Wish, for example, coming from the first match, have to take it one match at a time and only have one day to prepare for the next opponent.
Well, it's time to kick off game number 4 here. If Team Wish wins, they will go on to tomorrow to face off against Team Expert, as you just mentioned. Tricked Esport is looking for a tie right now to extend this series to game number 5. And their first ban will be Abathur once again.
Yeah, I feel like Abathur is just one of those heroes that a lot of teams opt in to ban him regularly just so they don't have to deal with him. And it seems like that's kind of been the trend here from Tricked overall. They've put a high priority on ETC from first pick. Team Wish has got to acknowledge, like, they probably won't get Task Tracer, so I wonder where they're going to put the prioritization on Task in this draft.
With the ban?
They could ban.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they've already seen Trick's pick ban strategy from first pick multiple times. Why ban the Tasks if they've prioritized ETC so highly in the past?
The problem that you can have if you ban, for example, ETC is that Trick could opt in for a Dehaka as their first pick.
I think leave
then they
them
have the
both up.
global. But then you have on the other side, of course, the option that you have Tacita up. Yeah, so leaving both.
Leaving
would make
both
more
up, I
sense.
think, is good. But that's only leaving them both up is only really good in the scenario in which Tricked prioritizes ETC over Tassadar, and Team Wish isn't willing to take that wager, that gamble, so they opt in to ban the Tassadar. I think that's fine.
Yeah.
It's definitely the less risky overall strategy.
And now Tricked, of course, has a couple of options of what they can do. We talked about ETC as a high priority. You can go into the Haka instead. And we've seen Tricked and other teams even prioritize the first support over those two. So, of course, with ETC now taken, Wish has an option for the Haka. If they want to immediately get a global, they can opt into Uther, and which they do, and get Genji again.
Uther Genji once again. So we've seen this draft opener from them.
It's again the triple. If you have ETC against you, you don't want to give Uther up. You take Uther, and then immediately a conclusion is, hey, we have the synergy with Genji, why not take it?
Okay,
The
so
radar.
Radar's picked up.
Are we going to get Gul'dan again?
You know, Crosby loves that hero, from
Yeah.
what I can tell, right?
It's going to be Greymane.
It's going to be Greymane. Greymane has an okay matchup into Genji. It's not phenomenal, but again, Greymane is just incredible on an Infernal Shrine, so not even taking team fights strictly into consideration, Greymane's really strong on this map just because of how fast he can do camps and the shrine control.
Let us talk for a second about something else. You're drafting for your team, of course. So here's a question, because we're seeing that just coming in from Tricked. If you are fairly... They pick HGC, and of course they know there's a high chance that Uther and Genji is picked. So you can see them immediately looking on their next two picks, not even thinking about them and wasting time. How much of a factor is that in your own drafting, that if when you already know what you want, that you're trying to put pressure onto the opponent's team by limiting their time to think about choices? Is that actually something that you actively do, or is that something that just
There is like
natural?
a meta game to the draft beyond what heroes you select. I definitely think there is some merit to that, but it depends entirely on how your team approaches the draft.
How do you do it? Like if you know, for example, okay, I'm going to take Rhaegar Greymane, if they do that, do you immediately try to force it as fast as possible just to limit the opponent's time to think about their next pick choice? Or is it something that doesn't really figure in too much for you, personally?
It doesn't figure in too much for me and my team too much. We like to get a set strategy, plan what we want to do in the series, and then if there is some versatility, we discuss it and just decide on the spot. So we don't really put too much thought into that, I'd say, but I'm sure other teams put more thought.
Sure. All right, well, Zul has been banned out. Team Wish will not allow.
You know, I like that.
for
I
Tricky
actually
Esports
like
in a
that
row.
ban.
But it's actually so cool to see that we have Zul being banned. I
Yeah.
mean, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it's a very respectful ban. I like it.
Against Tricked, it makes so much sense here, but it's just so fun if you see that there's a Zul ban all of a sudden. Against any other team in Europe, you would never see that. So
Yeah, for sure. And
Diablo.
the Diablo being hovered, I think, is really smart. We've seen the Diablo-Genji synergy, especially with like the Uther. And on this map in particular, Diablo doesn't need a high sustain support to retain that high HP pool due to his level 1 talent. So that's no surprise being banned out there. But
Yeah.
Team Wish picking up Warriors, we've seen them prioritize different ones at different times. On Tomb,
Diablo,
the Stitches prioritization.
Diablo is one of the heroes where Mopsio has to first convince me. On a personal level,
that's
him
true.
as a tank. Not saying that he can't do it, but so far, it hasn't really blown me out of the waters. I think when you talk about Mopsio, you have a lot of other tanks where he usually seems to be a lot more comfortable.
Yeah.
The traditional
I would
ones that we see
expect-
for him, he's definitely going to branch out that hero pool.
Yeah.
But at this point, it's not something that I personally would be worried to an extent where I say, hey, we have to ban it out.
I would expect a Garrosh over a Diablo before I see him play the Diablo, because we've had Garrosh in the past from him, especially on this battleground. Gul'dan does get picked up, as Team Wish will pick it up for themselves.
Yeah, I think from Trick's perspective, the ban is mostly just like, it's playoffs, they don't want to risk
Yeah.
anything. So it's like, even if they think the Diablo is like a really strong pick and they might not pick it, it's still sometimes it's worth it to just, make sure that that doesn't end up happening. But we do see the Gul'dan. I almost wonder if that's a deny pick.
I think so, yeah.
A
They've
bit.
played it a couple
Half
times.
and half.
It certainly is good with Team Wish's composition and on Infernal Shrines, but at the same time, like with Crosby being on Tricks and them already representing the
I mean,
ETC Rhaegar Greymane, they could have picked a Gul'dan.
It's
as
not
well.
only Gul'dan, it's Gul'dan Arthur.
Yeah,
So
that's
they
true.
also pick Arthur's away from Alex, and they leave Mopsio's hero open, since it's likely that Zarmini is going to play Arthur's again. So it's two heroes that work quite well with what they have, and at the same time they take them away from Tricked, who would have probably loved to play the two of them.
Ooh, I wonder if Team Wish is going to make adaptation with their draft plan. I think they were initially planning on the Anubarak here, but seeing Malthael be prioritized might change that a bit. But Mopsio had a really good showing on Anubarak, and I don't see why they wouldn't repeat that performance.
Why would Malthael be an argument for not taking Numenoric? In my world, it would be like
Well,
an even
so
stronger argument to take him, so
there's-
that you counteract Tormented Souls. with
There's
Cocoon.
pros and cons on both ends, respectively. A Cocoon is incredible for Tormented Souls, but outside of the window in a team fight where it's really short, because it's double support, I think that the team fights are going to go pretty long, and
Yeah.
Anubarak tends to be weaker in the long team fight situations due to the fact that he doesn't do as much damage, and his crowd control is on such long respective cooldowns. So it's kind of a give or take matchup. It depends on how much value you get out of the Cocoon respectively, if you can hold the Tormented Souls. It's a skill matchup for sure, but Malthael really thrives in long team fights, and Anubarak doesn't.
If you play, like, that matchup is actually something that we have talked about a lot in the past, where it's always a question, if you have an Anubarak, I feel you should always hold back your Cocoon until Malthael pops his ult, because even if you're tempted to use it before, once that Malthael
It's super-
hits Torment,
yeah.
I mean, he is going to destroy you there, especially if he's going into, like, complete Black Harvest, into 16
Yeah.
Memento Mori, and yeah. too
Spam
much.
Q.
Yeah.
Just keep Q held
Just hold the
down.
Q button. Go full
Yeah,
Lily on
exactly.
it.
Go for Lily, exactly. Put the paperweight on it.
Well, looking at the drafts here, there are some controls available for that Malthael that comes in. You have Uther, you have the Horrify on the Gul'dan, and then now you have a Nubrak with Cocoon. Who do you think walks away with the draft?
You know, honestly, I really like Trick's draft here. I think that the Malthael with the double support is going to be too much for Team Wish to handle. But Team Wish does have an opportunity to win. Their execution just needs to be flawless. But I favor Trick Esports in this.
Kador.
I think that right now I'm sold on the Wish trains. First of all, last game was more so about Poik, but I feel, as you highlighted in those clips, it wasn't only Poik, it was everybody else that just is absolutely on fire right now.
Coordination is on point.
And I think they are completely in the zone at this point, so I think they're going to pull this one off.
Yeah, the shrine control is wonderful here with the Gul'dan, and then if they want to force a fight, they have the Divine Shield into a Dragon Blade, which is always scary in itself. I think I'm in the camp here for Team Wish as well. But again, it comes down to execution. Can you imagine Team Wish coming all the way to the playoffs here, being in a bit of an odd spot, go through Team Liquid, go through Trick Esport, and they take Team Expert tomorrow?
Dude, they're my dark horse. I want them to win.
Now here's the thing. Everybody was talking about Zealots and about Team Wish the entire time, even when they fell down into the 6-7 matchup that we had. And after I favor them against Tricked overall. I think Tricked has been a bit inconsistent, and in the direct matchups, I think overall Wish has looked better. So with the momentum that they built to the victory against Team Liquid, I personally thought, okay, this is most likely going to be the matchup against Expert. But in my opinion, Expert is a different beast. The way they've been presenting themselves over the last few weeks, if Wish can take it, then of course they absolutely deserve it. But Expert has been working for this for so long. They have shown such clear performance overall, and they had now the time to prepare for it. So if Wish takes it here today, it would be an insane story if Wish makes it all the way to BlizzCon. But going through Expert is going to be a completely different beast. And they are not even there yet.
Yeah, let's just hold our mounts here. Yeah? Let's go ahead and get ready for game number 4 as we move into Infernal Shrines. Trick Esport looking for a tie, while Team Wish has a chance here to take a win and go to Sunday.
Game number 4. Knappe on Rega with the support for Trick. Rema Baller on ETC. Crosby on Greymane. And we have Alex the Pro Frog on good old Malthael. Macke on the second support, playing Lucio in this game as Trick Esports is down 1 game against Team Wish.
Team Wish on the right side, up in this series, looking for their final win on this Saturday. Mopsio will be your Nubrak player. Poik will be playing the Gul'dan. Zarmony on Arthas. Gonna have Shad playing the Genji. And we're gonna watch our teams they run for. Grandpa also playing Uther.
And Grandpa and Uther right now. Zarmony again on Arthas. The same front line that they used in the last game, having in the Nubrak and Arthas combo. And I am really hyped for this one. Tricked has shown great play in those 3 games, but so far, Wish was able to take 2 of the wins. So at this point, we're just having a bit of structural damage exchange with top lane tower taken out by Trick Esports. A bit of a rotation coming over from Team Wish as they have pressured the mid lane instead. And take 1 tower here as well. This could be it. This could be the game where Team Wish moves forward to face Expert in the next match. Or Trick will make the comeback, or the start of the comeback at least. And we're going to find out what happens in just a few minutes.
That's right. Shrines will be activating soon for our teams. We got a couple of turrets picked up on the top side for Trick Esports. They take a slight experience lead while Team Wish answered back in the middle. Trick does this pretty often actually in the early game. They'll group 3 to 4 members up and go in for a turret. If they get caught, they'll pull away. If not, they'll push it as far as they can. This time it worked out for them pretty well. Zarmony doing his best to defend that top lane pushes coming in from the Greymane. He'll have to be a little bit on the careful side. While he is Arthas, it is still difficult to deal with 3 members pushing you in.
Yeah, and of course with the double support that we're seeing here, Lucio is going to provide so much utility in a lot of these fights. Going to allow them to chase, going to allow them to retreat. As a utility support, he's fantastic. And after 16 and sealing power spike, he's going to heavily contribute to the sustainability during fights. So long and drawn out fights are definitely going to favor Trick Esports in the later stages of the game.
Already. Fight on the bottom side with Alex possibly getting caught. Mopsio goes in for the burrow charge. He's sustaining as much as he can here with Crosby and Knappe on the side. He will be able to live long enough, and Trick Esport takes a 3v4, and they get a kill on Genji.
Well done. Quick lunge on the end from Rega, and he gets the damage in. The early level 4 is the immediate reward, and the first shrine, of course, being active. You could see them rotate up to the top. By now, we're having Team Wish also fighting for the experience to get the next talent, and Mopsio is going to commit to that pretty soon up here at the top lane. But definitely a good start for Tricked. And currently, Malthael is making his choice on level 4. What's it going to be? A Black Harvest, or are we going to see Throwing Shade instead? Personally, I would have expected Black Harvest to be taken here, but right now we're seeing him hold that back for a long time, actually. Alex not committing to the choice yet.
Feels like Black Harvest is a way to go, especially as
Yeah.
Arthas and an Uther, solo Uther.
And on Shrines as
Yeah.
well, with all those 5 versus 5 that you're going to see there. Nice move down at the bot, by the way, where we see Grandpa Keta taken out. Great job against Uther here.
Uther being picked up. Trick Esport doing well on the Shrine phase, 12-0 on their opponent, but Team Wish will take a wall on the bottom side. Trick, though, right away, answering back, taking their own turret on the middle side. Rimmer coming in for the scout on their opponents, but Nape not escaping fast enough. Gets picked off.
Yeah, Nape is down, and we still haven't seen level 4 taken by Alex, which makes me extremely curious at this point. You definitely want to start the stacking process soon, so he hasn't committed to anything yet, but here we have it. So we are actually going to see him with Throwing Shade, so not going into Black Harvest, which we expected on the map here. Throwing Shade is going to be the choice, so he's going to wait for the 20 hits, and then he's going to have the increased range on his Death Shroud, and of course the cooldown reduction. So cool to see that Alex makes a few adjustments here. Black Harvest would have been extremely powerful, but especially if you hit 20 and you can go for the final curtain, the synergy is amazing. And oh my god, that triple power slide that we just saw from Rimmerballer.
But Mopsio goes in with a big burrow charge, hitting 2 members. We do have that winning trade happening for Trick Esport, where they're ahead 33-20 when it comes to the minion phase. Team Wish will go ahead and pull away, not risking anyone that could get picked off. Want to send off a few people to soak on the middle and the bottom side, while Gold Dan will be one of the main defenders here for the push coming their way on the top.
Yeah, at this point they already knew that they're going to lose out on the Punisher. They was just too far behind, 32 against 20 when that engagement started, and they retreated immediately. They're probably going to give up that that fort at the top lane even.
Wow.
Quick burrow out, yep. So that fort is going to fall, and now Trick has to try and find a bit of value on other points on the map, and they're deciding in favor of the mid lane here. Mopsio baiting that Punisher all the way down to the keep wall already.
Interesting adjustment there from Team Wish, as we'll have that Punisher pulled to the keep, as you mentioned. The middle wave was cleared out and the bottom side, so Team Wish is hanging in there when it comes to experience, and they're doing their best to slow down the rotations of their opponents to the bottom side so they can try and get an advantage in the experience. But if Grandpa gets caught out and dies, they're going to lose out on all that work they just did.
Yeah, Grandpa is down, and Poik is also being chased here, and whoa, if that would have connected, then that could have been a dead Gul'dan. But so far we have 3 kills against 1 in favor of Trick Esports. This is the cool thing if you have Lucio. Like, every single time we're seeing a Lucio composition, the rotations become so much scarier because of the speed bonus that you gain. And when they start to come out of these brushes and just simply jump on a target that doesn't have an escapability, it is incredibly dangerous. We've seen it yesterday against Team Liquid. We're seeing it today here again. It's just absolutely brutal how dangerous these rotations on the maps become when you have that double support Lucio style.
And with the fort taken down and a couple of pickoffs, Trick Esport has found themselves ahead of their opponent, but not too much. About to hit level 9, but Team Wish is right behind them, slightly behind in experience, which means moving into the next Shrine phase, we will have that race towards level 10, and whoever hits 10 first can move into the Punisher.
And them being on even, they have even a little bit more experience at this point, and this is kind of fantastic if you think about it, because they are in a slot where I would not have expected that. There's a fort that has already been eliminated, and Grandpa Keta is seriously just getting hammered into the ground here. Uther is now dead, I think, for the 3rd time? Yeah, for the 3rd time in the game, so he is having a rough time of it. Genji was at the top lane delivering a bit more experience, and they will hit level 10 with their opponents. They can fight for the next shrine, but at some point they need to make sure that they show up in force here for these fights, and I think that's going to be happening around level 10 when the heroic abilities come.
Yeah, Trick Esport has been focusing on experience through killing of the opposing heroes and kind of caught Grandpa off guard, but Genji being able to grab that 10 on the top side should make it A-okay. I am curious to see if Team Wish will ramp up as they hit level 10 here. Getting that Horrify, and of course that Uther Divine Shield into a Dragon Blade could be enough of a mix-up to mess up their opponents. But Lucio, a Sound Bearer, is always one of the great tools to be defensive.
Yeah, but I think this is really now the moment where you have to show that you have the coordination with heroic abilities. Tormented Soul's going to be countered by the Cocoon. You have to use that. Zarmony, on the other hand, is already in trouble. Here comes immediately the combo with the Divine Shield. They're already starting moving. Divine Shield not being used yet. Shat is going in. Finally, it's being dropped. Here is the Mosh Pit, though, and that could could be the end of Zarmani. He's trying to keep himself alive, but Make is on the move. The heal is a little bit too late. Mopsio low moves out, and that is one death on the side of Team Wish as Trick Esports starts to focus onto the Shrine again. Great mosh pit that we saw there from ETC.
Yeah, Trick just ran them over. The mosh pit coming in there being enough to slow it down. Zarmani being the only target that fell, but there were moments where Team Wish was starting to get strained on the healing from that Uther. Arts will be back in a couple of seconds, so they'll be able to set up a defense, and Team Wish has already given up on the Shrine.
Now, the problem was really, in my opinion, that Arthas was caught a bit too far out, and that forced Gul'dan to use Horrify, and he didn't really want to use Horrify this early. From that point on, they had also one less interruption tool against Mosh Pit, and you could see how when Dragon Blade was used, Shad actually did a fantastic job, and Grand Paquette held back the Divine Shield to an extent where he had to use it, which was super cool to see. So Shad showed no fear, knew that Grand Paquette would have his back, but with Horrify used this early to try and save Zarmani, that was just too much, and Remabolla's Mosh Pit was... yeah, it was too much for them to handle. It was brutal. So not quite the fight that Wish was hoping for, especially with Zarmani being caught there. But in experience, they're still fine, which is actually fascinating.
Alex approach is getting low, though. Sound Barrier comes out a little bit too late. He gets picked up, but Poik at the same time also being focused down. He'll use a Horrify to keep himself alive somehow. Drain Life also being utilized, while Zarmani on the back, looking at Nape, doing his best here to get him low, while Shad goes in with the help of Mopsio.
Dragon Blade in 8 more seconds. Rhaegar is down. 7 seconds for the Dragon Blade. Don't think they can capitalize on that. But that fight was insane, actually. Still with the Punisher in position, they get Alex, and then the Horrify that saved Poik and also committed to a second kill. Talking about kills, Make is gonna fall here too. Trying to move away with Lucio, but Chad finds him and takes him down. I mean, that was crazy good from Team Wish. It was so well played.
And they are looking to put some damage on the fort. They grab the well and also the mercenary camp on the bottom side. They save their fort in the middle. It's low on health, but still the team fight works out for them, and they get an experience lead.
Think about that. They lost the wall at the mid lane. They nearly lost the fort. They lost the entire top lane. They are behind in kills, and they are nearly a level ahead. It's like their soaking has been so much better. What Tricked has been doing is roam as 4 and 5 on the map with the help of Lucio, fast rotations and trying to apply pressure. They were jumping on the solo heroes on the lane, especially Grand Paquette, whenever he was left on a lane to soak. They were trying to jump in. Since he can't escape. He doesn't have an escape ability. But by doing that, Trick applied pressure. They also got kills that led them to objectives, but they lost out on lane soak. And that is why Trick is currently behind in experience, one of the main reasons here. So Team Wish has done a fantastic job at soaking the entire time. And Tricked, while applying the pressure, having a very concrete idea of what they want to do, got the kills, but then afterwards didn't get the snowball and the momentum that they were hoping for with the Punishers, especially with the second one.
Just goes to show that if you miss out on the experience, you have to convert those kills into more, whether it's more kills, grabbing forwards, opening up the map overall. Team Wish just staying in the game right now. 13 is getting close for Trick Esports, which is going to be good news for them, but with the Shrine activating on the south side, we're going to have another team fight.
Yeah. It's definitely a different style of playing this, and I still like the idea of what Trick is thinking here. They give up experience on the lanes, but they're being more aggressive about it. And I think this is a pretty cool approach with the draft they have. But at the same time, if they want to do that, they need to be a little bit more decisive in how they push the advantage after they gain the Punisher. And so far, that was a bit of a weak point. But by now, we have Wish with a 1-level lead, and that's a new fight with on even talents, level 13 talents over another Shrine. And this is really where Wish now can show up. And they actually hold the position on the Shrine now. And this time, Zarmani is in a good spot. So there's no catching a hero before the fight even starts. So at this point, it's all on eye level.
But still, Tormented Souls is up, and that's scary enough here for Team Wish to back up as we see Malthael continuing to move forward. Nape in a safe position, willing to drop down the Ancestral Healing when his team needs it. Zarmani dancing back and forth against Malthael, 23-20. We are neck and neck when it comes to Shrine Clear.
Tormented Souls and Mosh Pit are both being held back for now. Mops is going to wait with the Cocoon, and the Horrify is also going to be held back a little bit. Already, there's the Tormented Souls. Cocoon has been used already against him, a little bit late, but we still didn't see Mosh Pit, and Horrify has been used. So Remaballer has a chance for a good lockdown if he gets the connect, but we have Mopsio on the way back right now. 32 against 30, super close when it comes to the Punisher. Dragon Blade being used here. We see Shat moving through. He gets the Divine Shield. Only 2 more hits on the side of Trick, and they didn't get the Punisher, but they lose one of the heroes. Malthiel is already down. The Mosh Pit connects against 2. The Ancestral saving them. Gul'dan is down, and the Arcane Punisher has been claimed by Trick Esports.
Trick Esport gets a Punisher, but they also get the top lane pushing it, and then they're looking for a kill on Uther as well. Grandpa will fall. They had the Merc Camp pushing the entire time in the top lane. It's finally made its way to the keep. Shadow will move over to clear it up, but this allows for Trick on the bottom side to push in and take a 4 and a keep wall.
Trick is 3 for 3 now when it comes to Punishers. They have taken every single one of them, and they immediately backdoor the front of the keep here. They're not even bothered with a fort. They already know that the Arcane Punisher alone is going to be enough to take it on, and they are really starting to close that gap in experience. Great play by them here. Great fight, and also it was actually a surprising amount of value that Alex got out of his Tormented Souls, because the Cocoon just came a bit too late. Mopsio wasn't in range to drop it immediately after the Tormented Souls got popped.
Yeah, I was wondering why it kept it up for so long. The Tormented Souls actually expired when the Cocoon came out. It
exactly.
was really odd to see that.
At that point, I really thought just let it slide. Like, it's already over. You're not going to get the value you want. I would have rather seen him try to get it against, let's say, for example, Rhaegar before an Ancestral comes through at this point. Because as you said, by the time Cocoon was used against Malthiel, the Tormented Souls duration was basically over.
Yeah. Well, at this point, 16 hits for Team Wish, but so does Trick Esport, landing it in a couple of seconds here. And we have an even game as we move to the middle of the middle of the game here. Except for when you look at infrastructure, right now Trick Esport is ahead in that regard, but experience, we're matched up.
But Alex is also, I have to say, doing a really good job on Malthiel here. We haven't really seen him that much on Malthiel, so I think what he has been doing so far has been pretty good. And the Tormented Souls, that was no accident that he was in such a good position when he used it. So for now, we have 16 versus 16, 8 kills against 5, Trick with 3 for 3 in the Punisher on the objective count. And Alex, by the way, on level 13, already speccing straight into Inevitable End, so he goes for his own Unstoppable, which is also super important here for him. Waits with the 16 a bit. And let's not forget, with him currently going on level 4 into Throwing Shade, his 20 is going to be super strong. He's currently also on 13 stacks on his progress with the level 4 talent, so he needs another 7 until he gets the quest reward, which is going to make his hero even more dangerous.
Inevitable End, does that actually cancel out the Cocoon if it comes your way?
Sorry?
Inevitable End, does that cancel out the Cocoon?
You get Unstoppable, yeah, so you can actually make that play. If you make that fast enough, you...
That's why it was delayed there.
Can definitely use it. And you have also, of course, the option against... I mean, there's so many heroes on the other side that have these stuns. You talk about Uther, you talk about Arthur's, even Anubarak stuns alone. So Alex is definitely in a decent spot with us.
Well, we're going to watch as that unfolds here with one more shrine activating to the very far north here. Both of our teams in the area to contest it. They're working on trying to clear out the waves first. Alex and Proju will be spotted by Zarmani as he moves forward and drops down a couple of attacks.
Yeah, Alex already in that spot, and of course also trying to engage here once again. Remaballer moving in, Army of the Dead already being popped. Remaballer on the move out. Zarmani low, Cocktail hits, and it hits hard, but Zarmani still with a couple of ghouls around and sacrifices one after another to bring his hit point pool back up again. But he sacrificed a big cooldown, and Trick hasn't used any resources for that fight yet.
And they were much more healthy too, so Team Wish decides, alright, well, looks like we have to get rid of this shrine. They just run to the middle lane instead. Yeah. They leave a Nubrak back to make sure to slow down the movement from Trick, and those go for a fort.
And look at the map. Every single fort has been eliminated of Team Wish. Trick Esports is still holding on to 2, and this is one of the things that Wish is now taking out, and they're pushing this even further. But after Zarmani had to use his Army of the Dead, Wish just simply said, alright boys, that's over, let's move out. And now, smart move by Trick, instead of trying to go back to defend, they instead start pushing for the top keep. Since the wall has already been eliminated, Wish knows they are slower when it comes to the push, so they had to be back and couldn't push the mid lane after destroying the fort. So really cool that Trick is going for the trade rather than being pressured into defending.
Still like how Team Wish handles this though. Realizes, okay, we don't have one of our major heroics we need for a team fight, so they go to the different parts of the map there, open up the fort, grab experience too, which allows for them, if they can defend this Punisher coming their way, to be still in a prime spot to move towards 20.
And exactly, there is still, you make a super good argument, they still are the team that is a level ahead. So even with them losing out on infrastructure on the map and being heavily punished or pressured right now, they are the ones that could hit 20 first, and that's something that they're currently hoping for. to get their Storm Talons. But Tricked, of course, can now move in with the Punisher, and this is potentially keep and maybe even more if they get the kills here. Already the dive into the backline. Here comes the Horrify being used. Alex is in a bit of trouble, but we have also the sound barrier committed to. Here come those circles. Crosby moves in. Power slide against Poik. He's in trouble. Gul'dan is getting low, trying to survive for now. Crosby wants the kill, doesn't get it. The Divine Shield is out, but Greymane falls. They fight on top of the Punisher, and Team Wish still gets the first kill.
And the major thing there, too, was ETC in his mosh pit was interrupted. He was going in. He would have hit 3 targets, but it being interrupted prevented them from getting the mosh pit they wanted, and they lost their Greymane.
The fights are so crazy. The entire fight happens around the keep. The keep doesn't even fall. The Punisher jumps around one stun circle after another, and it just doesn't matter. Wish gets the kill. The Divine Shield of Grand Paquette is absolutely on point as Greymane commits to Gul'dan. I mean, that was incredibly well done by Team Wish. If you would have told me before that fight that they're not even going to lose the keep, don't lose a hero, but even get a counter kill, I would have called you crazy. That was an insanely effective defense.
And it piles on here as they go to the 4 on the top side that they haven't grabbed the entire game. They get the additional experience, and they're this close to level 20 Caldor. They are in a wonderful spot to slow down their opponent and make sure that when they move into the next Shrine phase, that they have the 20 and the positional advantage.
Yeah, the bot lane... I'm not quite sure what exactly Trick was waiting and debating for down there. It looked like a bit of a bait or a trap. They were maybe expecting one hero to stay back to defend the bot lane and trying to jump on him. Wish didn't do that. Instead, they pushed with 5-man. They don't split up at this point. They're really a bit weary of getting picked off on the map, so they're only moving as 5, with the tanks also just face-checking the bushes and not really letting anybody else go straight in for it. So I think Trick was hoping for a single hero to stay behind to defend the bot lane, but that didn't happen. So effectively, they wasted a little bit of time with that attempt. But right now, Wish knows that they can't be alone on the map.
Yeah, you can understand why they try to set up that trap. They're trying to get the kill, experience.
No, from TK Esport side, it makes sense. You are trying to get the solo kills now, especially with being a level behind. You don't want to fight against the 20. And it also makes sense why Wish doesn't keep a single hero there. First of all, they don't have a global. And second of all, you already have suffered so many deaths on the hands of these fast Lucio rotations that you just don't want to happen it again. You want to move as 5 right now and commit to these 5 versus 5 fights. And the cool thing for Wish is now that they also have camps pushing the bot lane, which is really important. They can defend the top lane, and then they can commit to the Shrine itself. But they have to be a bit careful because Trick is playing a lot with the vision at this point. They're really setting traps the entire time and trying to stay in the fog of war.
Trick has to be careful here. They are a full talent behind, but this is an arcane Punisher, and they don't want it to go over to Team Wish. They will dance around and do their best here not to force a fight. Grandpa pops Benediction, and Malthael has been locked down by Howling Blast.
It's a horrible position for Trick because it's the bot lane that is going to be affected by the Punisher, and this is the one where they don't have a fort anymore. Already, Inevitable End here being used, and the Tormented Souls. Cocoon as a counter comes in, and here comes the Horrify. Alex is in so much trouble right now, and the Ancestral is too late. He's down. That's the best case scenario. We see Genji with the Dragon Blade. He goes and commits the second kill. Lucio is already dead, so they can get the third one against Greymane without a problem. Knappe is about to fall as well. Team Wish, they dominate the most important team fight of the game and immediately focus onto the bot lane to end the match.
They're running towards the keep here, and when they get this win, that means they will secure their spot against Team Expert to face off to see who will get the 3rd slot at the HGC Finals. We have 30 seconds before 4 members of Trick Esport will be up and available, and the core is already taking damage. Only Rimmer is here by himself. The most he can do is drop a spray paint.
GGs are already called in Jet. Rema Baller is just sitting around saying hello, dropping a couple of spray paints. Not even tricked one. Feels bad, man. The core goes down, and Team Wish takes the 3-1 victory in a crazy game where Tricked Esports has won every single objective except for the last one, but especially that last fight was just exceptionally well done.
Grandpa called a 3-0 yesterday. Not quite there. Gets a 3-1. Not so bad itself. Glorong, are you on the Team Wish bandwagon now?
Oh, absolutely. I've been on them since the beginning, but like I have, you know, taken my faith away from them in some games here and there. But I mean, like
You're a true believer now?
Oh, I'm a true believer. But like you said, Team Expert is going to be like a huge test for them, I'd say.
Sure.
But like in that last game, that last team fight in particular was so incredibly well played. the patience on the Horrify
Oh, yeah.
to use like the isolation, and we can actually
And
like go into it right now and check it out.
The inevitable
as we,
end
like,
as well. He waited it out.
Yeah, it was really, really good awareness. They recognized, like, okay, we can wait to use Cocoon for Tormented Souls, and you can see that Tricked actually isn't able to put too much damage out, so Alex steps up to try and get a little bit more value, but this minor misposition costs them everything because this Horrify comes out and it's the perfect angle to get the isolation, and then it's level 20 Genji, and Shad has incredible positioning to pretty much just go nuts, have a heyday. He gets the D shield and then just reset City from here. He's able to finish both Greymane as well as the Rhaegar here, and then they're able to just take the core. But it's like this sort of patience and determination that really makes or breaks teams.
The big problem was also, as they are trying to save Malthael, Rhaegar tries to commit to the Ancestral.
It was so close too.
Exactly, it gets cancelled out, but then he's on a 10-second cooldown, and that's the moment where Dragon Blade activates and he goes in. So the entire time, Rhaegar just sits there, has to watch Greymane die, is just looking at Lucio who falls, and it's just like, guys, 5 more seconds.
Yeah.
And yeah, one after another, Genji just takes them out. So fantastic team fight by them, and that Horrify just won the battle.
Yeah, that Horrify was incredible.
Yeah.
Like, this entire series just played out of his mind.
Yeah.
MVP.
From the KT to the Tracer to the Gul'dan at the end. Like, and it was a Gul'dan with Uther solo support too, so it's not even like an easy situation to necessarily play the Gul'dan.
It's like he wants to go to BlizzCon.
It seems like it.
Well, Trick Esport comes out today and they look strong, but not strong enough as Team Wish gets a 3-1 victory. Doing great here, taking Team Liquid out yesterday with a 3-2. Today, the 3-1 over Trick Esport. Tomorrow, against Team Expert, that's a match that we're all building up to, and it's going to be an exciting one.
Yeah,
the one advantage we can't look over though is Team Expert does have a sample size of, I think, 8 games now that they can look and study Team Wish as their opponent going into tomorrow. So there is like that you got to take into consideration. But man, Wish is looking good.
How much of an advantage is that, just from your perspective?
So there's different perspectives you can look at it from. You can look at it from the perspective of, you know, we see how they tried to counter a specific strategy that Wish won with, and you have to analyze, okay, as a team, can we execute what they thought their win condition was better than them? If no, then you make adjustments in the draft and you can look to ban out things like the Tracers. That's probably what they'll do, Team Expert. I mean, going into tomorrow, they'll be like, they'll look at how other teams tried to deal with the Tracer, see if they could deal with it better themselves based off that data, and then decide whether or not to make those decisions.
Well, knowledge is power, and we're going to get a chance here to get Grandpa back on the screen here. We can ask him about his call yesterday about the 3-0, because he didn't deliver, man, so I'm kind of let down
Hey
in that
man,
regard.
3-1, you can't be upset about a 3-1, though.
You can't.
Still.
Oh, it looks like we do have Grandpa here from Team Wish. Grandpa, congratulations on your victory, but before you get too excited, I have to call you out, man. You said you was going to be 3-0. What happened?
It was all a strat.
Oh, okay.
I actually didn't want to 3-0 them that easy, so if I say that on the interview, Alex is going to get triggered, and he will try hard as much as he can. So we gave you a good show. It was all a strat.
Grandpa with the high-level strats. All right, over to Caldor.
Let me recover for a second. So yeah, I mean, great job today. You guys really delivered, and it felt like you played even better today than you did yesterday. Are you guys as a team currently just like riding that momentum train? So how did the series feel from your perspective after the victory against Team Liquid yesterday?
Like today, the first game felt really hard because Keltus had stacks. We needed them to win the fights, and we couldn't get them early on. But after we won that game, I felt that we couldn't lose the series anymore. And we started playing better and better. Maybe the Tomb game was a bit meh. But I think we're keeping up the momentum, and we will see tomorrow against Expert. Maybe we can get a win and go to BlizzCon.
Talk a little bit about that match tomorrow, because this is really the thing that interests me the most. When we were headed into the playoffs, everybody was saying, okay, any team can win, it's so stacked, it's so close, but most people said that they still feel that Expert has a bit of a great position there. Do you feel that for you guys, Expert is a different match than going up against Tricked or against Team Liquid on the first day, or is it just another opponent?
Being completely honest, I think Expert are clearly favorites to go to BlizzCon. And of course we have things prepared for them, but yeah, they're clearly the favorites. They are the better team. They're so better performance around the whole phase. So we will try our best, but they're the favorites.
All right, thank you very much. Lauren?
So I have more of a comment than a question. I've been watching your play pretty closely over the past 2 days, and it seems to me that you have like a pretty diverse hero pool. And in Cursed Hall in particular, like I just kind of want to know what your thought process was in that game, because you had a couple spectacular moments where you hit like some nasty palms, saved some crazy people, and played really, really well that game. And I just, from the perspective of a support, what's going through your head in the situations where palm has to hit or you lose? Like, how do you deal with that pressure?
It's just a split of a second, so I don't even think. Like I just press my buttons and hope for the best.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
Sometimes it's all you gotta do. Well, Grandpa, thank you so much. Congratulations on your victory day. Before I let you go, and of course give you the time to give shout-outs, you have to tell me tomorrow, what is the match gonna be? Is it a 3-0, a 3-1, or a 3-2?
Okay, I'm gonna go for 3-2 in our favor.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it. And now, shout-outs.
Same as always. Thank you for everyone that is cheering. Oh! I have a big shout out for Snitch.
Oh, I'm ready.
Who is always he's been consistently the top, like the guy that cheers for us the most. So thank you, Snitch. Keep cheering for us. And I have to say that I will show no mercy if we meet at BlizzCon. But thanks for your support.
Perfect.
Of course, thanks to Wish for sponsoring us. See you tomorrow.
Awesome. Looking forward to tomorrow. It's all going to end tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's going to be a wonderful match here as we have Team Expert facing off against Team Wish. Let's take a look at the bracket here and see how we got all the way to this match that will be occurring on Sunday. Now, on Friday, Team Liquid and Team Wish faced off. Great series overall, but Team Wish got the win.
As we are seeing the score, I have to, by the way, shout out that it's fascinating to me that Glorang, now that he joins the analysis desk here, immediately falls into the caster math curse.
Oh no, it was 9 matches, not 8. Oh no.
Caldor does not care at all. He will throw you under the bus, man.
Oh yeah. No, it's okay. See, if it wasn't for being thrown under the bus, how would I avoid the bus the next time?
That's true.
You know?
Exactly.
So,
I have his best interest at heart.
Competitive player right
there. Right here. Exactly.
All about improving for the future.
That's right. That's right. Well, after that, of
the
course,
curse hits.
we had Tricked face off against Team Wish, a 3-1 victory today, and tomorrow will be the big match to determine who will be going to the HGC
so
Finals in November for BlizzCon. And before we even get into it, who do you think's going to go? We've been talking about it here in the
Wish,
I want to
baby.
call. Wish all the way?
Wish, baby.
Caldor?
You asked me on Friday, and I say Expert, no doubt. Right now, I still think Expert is favored. I agree with Grandpa there. I think they are the favorite to go.
Yeah.
But I have to admit that Wish over the last 2 days has really impressed me more than before. They haven't really shown a lot of weakness. I still think it's going to be Expert, but it's going to be close. And with a little bit of luck, I could see Wish go. But my favorite spot, if I would have to put money on it, it would still be Expert.
For me, one of the teams will go. That's all we know. We'll see you guys tomorrow as we are done here in
hard-hitting
HGC
analysis
Europe.
right there.
We'll see you tomorrow. But again, they're not looking for anything major unless they can get a free dragon in the middle. Team Wish at the same time, though, is looking for a fight. They want to engage. Rimmer comes in from the top right, drops down a power slide. Gonna have Dragon Blade going in. It's Chunkanox approaching. He's getting lower while Isolation prevents him from self-healing.
Vala is down. Fantastic tools used here by Trick, by the way, to try and keep her alive. But in the end, the focus of Team Wish was enough. Here comes Syndragosa. ETC is down. Trick Esports still committing here. Alex is in trouble. And there comes once again